Hi everybody, welcome back to Copilot, a YouTube channel to help organizations thrive by orienting around what matters most, their customers and their people. In this video, I'm going to talk about why digital transformations fail. I'm going to give you the 5 things that I have seen in my time. And I'm going to walk through what those are and maybe give you some examples so that you can kind of see what's happening in your own organization and hopefully help you from doing these same things. Again, my name is Pablo Alejo, and I'm your co-pilot. So I'm going to jump right into this by first saying digital transformations are extremely difficult. That's why there's so much content out there that you can find that talks about this topic, and it is for that reason that so many organizations struggle with their own digital transformation. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it, and this channel wouldn't even exist. So the first thing that I've seen organizations struggle with, and it's one that seems very obvious, but yet for some reason they really struggle doing this, and that is clearly defining what their strategy is. Many organizations have very clear understanding of where they want to go. Like they see the vision, they see that, the mountaintop, if you will, but yet they really cannot tell you how they are going to get there. That is the first thing that I recommend any organization do, is align on your strategy. Now, the align part of that is also extremely critical. You can have a strategy and you can have the most well-defined strategy, but if your organization is not aligned around it, then what is going to help you get there? And so alignment across leadership and across stakeholders throughout the organization is crucial in order to be able to be successful in shaping a strategy that's going to get you where you want to be. How is it going to be measured? What are the milestones that you're going to be going through? How do you know where you are in your process? It's those types of things that are crucial in understanding where you're going and how you're going to get there. Also, do not confuse a goal and a strategy. A goal is a destination. It is a place you want to be. A strategy is the path on which you will take to get there. Many organizations actually have goals, but they don't necessarily have strategies. And those are 2 entirely different things. So make sure that when you are in your transformation, that you're actually asking the question, do we know what our strategy is? And if it is not clear as to the steps you are going to take in order for you to be successful, then odds are you actually don't have a strategy. So think about that. The second thing is that you don't have enough of the right people in your organization. And I know that that is a scary thought. And sometimes generally people, that's where I get the most pushback from people, are in this thought that they maybe don't have enough of the right people. Now, it goes back to this idea that what got you here will not get you there. And that is a really, very honest, perspective. But it's actually correct. What got you here will not get you there. Now, what I am not saying is that you have to, replace your staff. What I am saying is that you need to be honest with what you have as far as your people, processes, and technologies. What do you have? What resources do you have that can get you where you want to be? And understanding that you might have to change some things in order to get to where you want to be. But when it comes to changing, there are a lot of things that can be changed. People can be trained. You can actually bring people in from the outside to give outside perspective. That could be, hiring new people permanently, or it could be using, partnerships, consultancies, just for more short term. But the goal is to find ways to get the thinking and the mindsets that your culture needs in order to be able to, adapt and move forward in the direction you're going. And the same can be said about tools and processes. If you are so rigid on the tools and processes and policies that you have, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to get where you're going. But it starts with your people and understanding and knowing who do you have and acknowledging whether or not you need to make some tweaks around some things and figure out how to upskill and and give the right opportunities to your people in order to be successful. The third thing is one that is probably the most obvious that I've ever seen, and it is this idea of poor collaboration across an organization. And generally it's siloed based organizations where you have functions that run independently of the other. And as an example, you have IT, you've got the business functions, you have sales, you have marketing, and then you have the administration or ops area. And while they may work at the same company, I've been in situations where the heads of those groups rarely ever get in the same room with one another and rarely ever talk and admit challenges they have about how to make things happen. We live in a world where admitting that you do not know something is considered bad. And that is actually one of the biggest misnomers out there. I think the idea, Brene Brown talks about vulnerability is one of the most crucial components to real change in an organization. It is admitting when you do not know something, admitting that you don't have the answers to everything. And by doing so, reaching out to get advice and to collaborate and to bring more people into the process so that you together can do and achieve great things. When you have the right engagement from the right people across an organization, it is very hard for you to not be successful. There are many situations where I've seen, an IT function bring in marketing, bring in sales, bring in operations, and say, hey, we're trying to achieve this goal, and we're thinking about applying this type of technology to do it. What are we missing? And you would just be shocked at how many fantastic ideas come from outside. And it's not just the leaders at the very top. It's bringing the frontline people who are on the ground getting the work done into these conversations, because they're the ones who are actually actively doing the work. And because of that, they have a perspective that is invaluable. While it may be great to say that you did that job for 20 years, you're not doing it today. And because you're not doing it today, you're not seeing the day-to-day challenges that exist in 2023. And that is a massive thing. So if you bring the right people together and you go across functions within an organization, what you do is you increase the effectiveness of all the ideation that's happening, all of the testing that's happening, all the feedback loops that need to happen, all of those things, you enhance what's going to happen. And therefore, you generally are much more successful. The fourth thing is something that is a little bit tricky, but at the end of the day, it comes down to short-term thinking and thinking small. Something that I've said before is this idea that nothing is more detrimental to innovation than an incremental mindset. And that is relatively what I'm trying to get at here. Most people, when they think about what they're trying to achieve, they think in very small increments and they think very fast. I need all of my transformation done in 6 months. Versus, what does real radical evolution look like for my organization? How can we orient around our customer and our people in a way that will dramatically shift where we are going? And by doing so, what you do is you're able to expand what's possible. And that also means that it's going to be a little bit bigger of an idea. By doing so, well, then you can break it down into smaller increments, because the goal is to be very agile. You shouldn't wait 3 years to see your transformation. That should be something you should be able to act on almost immediately and try to get those quick wins and start to build momentum. But it begins with a big vision. And many organizations, what they will try to do is they will try to react to some outside force, and by doing so, what you're doing is you're letting the outside dictate what you're what your goals should be versus you taking the initiative and say, here are the forces that are coming in, but why? And how is that impacting us? How should we respond in such a way that allows us to take on this force, but then go beyond that and bring something different and bring something differentiating? That is true innovation. And when you think about transformation, it should be leading towards something great, something new. If it's just an incremental change, then why would you invest so much time and effort to go through it? So when you're in your own digital transformation, ask yourself that question. Are we pushing ourselves hard enough? Are we thinking big enough? Is this an increment or is this an innovation? And if you can't answer that question quickly, then you're probably just incrementing. And like I said, nothing is more detrimental to innovation than an incremental mindset. The fifth and final thing, this one is something that is also extremely obvious, which if you think about all five of these, they're all very obvious. But this one is something that I see over and over and over again. And that is when an organization buys technology before understanding what they're actually trying to achieve in their change. And they will buy technology without getting full buy-in from the organization. And they will buy technology when they don't fully understand what they're getting themselves into. I once worked with a client and they dropped $160 million to acquire a capability. What they did not have is they did not have a strategy. Their entire product organization was so immature that they could not figure out how to use this new capability. One of the greatest quotes was that they bought something that they were not able to handle. And the way that this guy framed it was, imagine a child trying to ride an adult motorcycle. And he was like, you can barely touch the handlebars and you can't even touch the pedals with your feet. Because that's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to wield this massive machine. And that's what many organizations do. They will acquire a tremendous capability. And there are really great platforms out there. You think about Pegasus, Salesforce, ServiceNow, like Workday, like all of these things, they are so powerful and can do so many amazing things for an organization. However, if your organization is really not ready, then all you are doing is you are spending a lot of money that you will not reap the reward of. And so by taking a step back and asking some fundamental questions, one, are we sure that this is the right decision? How do we know this is the right decision? What will we get out of making this decision? And that is with any piece of software. And if you do not have a very clear strategy, if your organization is not fully aligned on to where that strategy is, if you don't have the buy-in from across an organization and stakeholders who are going to be a part of getting you there, so breaking down those silos, making sure that you have the right people in the room who have the right skill set to make the right decisions. And if you're thinking big enough and you have all of those things and you have your roadmap, at that point, then you can say with confidence, we're gonna use this tool. And this tool, we're gonna use it in this way. And it's going to impact these parts of our organization. And with that in mind, that is how you can acquire the right technology and implement it in such a way that you can start launching out small things and build momentum. And over time, before you know it, boom, you've got this tremendous capability in your organization that is driving real change and real impact to your business. In my time, in the last 20 plus years, these are the things that I typically see organizations struggle with. When you are on your journey, always question what's happening. And it's less of trying to be a devil's advocate, but really it's about critical thinking and making sure that you're taking the necessary steps in order to be successful in your transformation. There's a lot on the line for some of these transformations. And when you have so much on the line, it's important that you do the right things and then do them well. There's this concept of build the right thing and build the thing right. And that is, in essence, what digital transformation is about, is understanding what it is you're going to build, and then how are you going to build it in such a way that it adds value immediately. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. I hope that was useful. I would love to hear back and get your thoughts. What are the things that you've seen that organizations struggle with in their transformations? I would love to get your thoughts there. Put them in the comments. Thank you again. And as always, everyone needs a co-pilot. My name is Pablo Alejo, and I'm going to be yours.